You have one unheard message.
Hi, I was calling Current, the influencer marketing platform, but I think I just got redirected to a bunch of people listening to a podcast. Well, anyways, I was calling Current because I was told they could help get my brand set up on TikTok Shop, and even build out an affiliate program of content creators promoting my brand, and even have those content creators go on live streams and promote my product there. Wow, I could really use Current. I also heard that the brands they work with are making millions in sales. I guess I'll just go to their website at current.tech.
O'Reilly! You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is a podcast from Minute Media.
Hashtag no music, no intro. We're back. Another episode of Hashtag Saints Twitter podcast coming at you. I feel like every time we, between episodes, between like an old episode and a new episode that we post, like there's like something else that's done gone wrong with the world, bro. Like since our last episode we posted last week till this week, another mass shooting, 4th of July.
Oh, man.
You could say that since this summer, and I know I'm starting off the podcast on a really fucking somber note, just completely letting all the air out of the room. But like since the summer, bro, like since like June-ish, every time we've done a podcast, it's been something. Like it's been some mass shooting, America going back 45 years, women's rights getting something, bro. Just like, fuck. Like what's going on, man?
Hey, but on the side note, gas prices starting to tiptoe down a little bit, though, boy.
Not maybe where you is, nigga, because out there, shit still got me in a straight hole.
My little go-to spot was like $4.20. I was like, ooh, all right.
I put gas in my girl's car this afternoon. I think it was, I'd have to look. It was like $5.85, which it's going down, but it's still like, ugh. But yes, gas going down. So I should have probably led with this. And a tweet of mine that went viral last weekend was in Vegas with the family. Went to Vegas for WWE Money in the Bank. Of course, my daughter gets COVID from being either at the wrestling event or at Vegas. When I got COVID last month in June, me and my girl, we both got COVID last month. It was from a wrestling event we went to, so maybe we gotta hold off on going to wrestling events for a while. But before this, it was Friday. My girl was working. My daughter really wanted to go to the Hello Kitty Cafe in Vegas. And so, you know, we took a Lyft, took an Uber, walked there. She stood in line. And this is something about having a kid that's 12 going on 13, but like really they're like almost 19 of how grown they think they are. So like she had decided in her mind that whatever she wanted at the Hello Kitty Cafe little pop-up shop, that like I was going to buy it, right? And that was not my intention. Like she has her own little first bank account. Like so she has her debit card that only I can put money in her account with her allowances or whatever. So I was like, you want your little Hello Kitty pillow? You buying it with your money. So she got to the front and she realized that I wasn't paying. And she was like, "Oh no, I don't think I want it." And then I felt bad. I was like, "Ah, fuck." So then I ended up getting it for I end up getting it for her. We go back to the hotel. She's happy to get her Hello Kitty pillow in an elevator. We're staying at the Conrad in Vegas, right? I can say this now. I wouldn't have said it then because I didn't want to fuck up where he was. Staying at the Conrad, very overrated hotel. So anyone who's listening to this podcast thinks about going to Vegas and making hotels, don't stay at the Conrad. For what you get, it's way too overpriced. So me and my daughter's in the elevator, and then before it goes up, two large individuals were about to go in the elevator, but one of them can't get on, so only one of the guys got on, and then this other guy got on. And so I'm just chilling in my head, and so it's me, my daughter, this tall dude, and this other random dude. And I'm looking at the tall guy, and I don't know what, but it finally fucking dawns on me. I was like, that motherfucker looks like Joe Burrow. That's that. So out loud, I go, Joe Burrow? Just looked at him like, Joe Burrow? And he was like, what's up, man? And the giveaway, besides his him looking obviously because it was him, was that he had the black and gray Louis Vuitton travel duffel bag, bro.
Oh yeah.
Bitch was clean, bro. Clean, fresh.
Just milk, you heard me? Just milk.
And so the other random guy in the hotel, this motherfucker's flipping out. No way. What? I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking embarrassing niggas right now. And then as soon as so we were on the 33rd floor. The random guy gets off, and he even as the elevator door is closing, he's like, yo, you couldn't believe who I was like, oh, this is why I couldn't be famous, bro. God damn. I played it cool as fucking cucumber. But I did the thing that I typically don't do when it comes to celebrities because when the fuck else I'm gonna be in the elevator with Joe Burrow, bro? When is that gonna happen ever again in my life? So I was like, you know what? Let me ask for his picture, but I don't want to ask for me to be in a picture with him because I feel like that's kind of weird, right? So, and then plus I was like, let me ask him to take a picture of my daughter being it because you gotta be a real asshole to say no to the picture with a kid in it, right?
Yeah.
Complete professional, nice dude. All he said was, let's just try to make it quick because he was on the 32nd floor. We were on the 33rd floor. My daughter has no fucking clue who Joe Burrow is, bro. No clue. So if you look at the picture, to her, she's looking at me why is my dad wanting me to sex next to this tall white man who I don't know who. Stranger date, she you can just see it in her.
Yeah, she's like,
who is this? But Joe Burrow's complete, just gentleman, professional. The tweet went viral. So obviously I don't, next time, maybe hey, got my laptop in the room, want to come record an episode real quick, but didn't want to be rude or that person. And as the tweet's going viral, one of the most annoying things about that fucking tweet that went viral, and I just finally muted the notification, the conversation, that people were questioning it was fucking Joe Burrow. I'm like,
Joe Burrow. I don't know.
I don't know what the fuck to tell you. This man literally has an LSU fucking wristband on his arm, or on his wrist. It's him. And then the night of the fight, the UFC fight on Saturday, he was first sitting ringside or whatever at the octagon. And I was like, oh, now y'all would believe me? This man's been in Vegas the whole fucking weekend. But gave him a fist bump and said, good luck in regular season. And it's just funny how life works, right? You and I aren't LSU fans. We're not college football fans. But I know what Joe Burrow means to Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Gulf Coast, the Gulf region, New Orleans. He's a living legend in that area. And so for me, I'm like, we have a Saints podcast. I can't not ask Joe Burrow for a fucking picture. That would have been criminal.
I mean, his biggest fan base outside of Ohio is in Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? So,
without question, no doubt. But wanted to tell my Joe Burrow story on the podcast. So cool, just a surreal thing. One of those very such a Vegas thing, just such a fucking Vegas thing. And right. It dawned on me that the other person who was going to get on the elevator with him that didn't was either Jesse Bates or the former Cowboys cornerback, that the Awuzie. One of the two, one of them. But that was fun. My daughter became a meme for a second time. But now that my daughter, tested positive for COVID yesterday, I was just thinking, could you imagine if this would have been 2021 season before the rules got changed, bruh? And my daughter had COVID. And Joe Burrow did an elevator return, he got COVID and had to miss 2 fucking games.
James gave Joe Burrow COVID, man. No magical season.
Just imagine it, bro. But anyway, this episode we're going to get into training camps around the corner. Training camp starts. I think the rookies report 16th or the 19th. We got the email. I don't know off the day off the top of my head. Rookies report, and then a couple of days after the rookies, the veterans report. The crazy thing is I realized that when training camp gets up and going, I'm going to be in Hawaii. And I was calculating it yesterday. Do you realize there's a 7-hour time difference from where you live and we're in Hawaii, bro?
Jesus.
It's ridiculous. But we wanted to do a pre-training camp 53-man roster prediction. And then once training camp gets underway, maybe kind of mid-training camp or 3/4 training camp, we'll do another 53-man roster prediction. Just for our thoughts of how we see the roster is going to play out. And I did that activity earlier. It was interesting going through it. I'll say that it was interesting. But before we get into that, we wanted to talk about at the podcast where we're going and what we want to accomplish. So if for anyone who has a business, and it could be in California, it can be in Louisiana, the Gulf area, and if you're interested in wanting our podcast, the Hashtag Saints Sort of Podcast, to sponsor your business, or you like an ad read during our podcast, please reach out to us. It's something that we really are looking to dip our toe in. One of Ryan's favorite gifts. So you can reach out to us at saintstwitterpod@gmail.com is the best way to get in contact with us. And then from there, we'll give you our media kit guide. We'll give you the pricing and all that, but it is something that we really want to dive into. And obviously we want it to be mutually beneficial for both, right? We want it to be beneficial to the podcast, and we want, if we're doing an ad for you or we're sponsoring your business, we want our listeners, if they're in that area, to take action and seek out your services. So it's both beneficial to both parties.
Yeah. No, man. Just holler at us. We're open to any kind of business, and I will say this. If it's something that's if I feel any kind of sketchiness about it, me or Adam, we won't do it. But so just get at us. We'll do our due diligence, and because you got to understand the thing about podcast advertising, it's different from radio. You know what I'm saying? Podcasts, there's a little more personalization to it. So if it's something we believe in, we'll definitely push it. And it'll make a big difference for your business. You know what I'm saying? Like if you think about it, you know, while we might not be having, you know, millions of listeners, we got a nice number. We get, you know, a couple thousand listeners per episode. We're doing well. We're growing. And, you know, you'll be reaching a very passionate, diverse fan base. You know, that's what I love about our fan base. It's very diverse. And I don't mean just race or sex or whatever. I just mean just like different types of people, man. We got business people. We got professionals, you know, hard construction workers, blue collar, everything, man. Like a lot of different type of people listen to our shit. So, so we'd love to have you. Just give us, you know, just give us a holler on our Gmail, and we'll see what we can do with you.
Yeah, it's something that we're really, really passionate to get started and get off the ground. So if you're interested, hit us up on Gmail, and we'll go from there. Before we talk about 53-man roster stuff, let's start with this big news, quote-unquote big news that happened in the NFC South. With the Carolina Panthers trading for Baker Mayfield yesterday for a 5th-round pick. I guess Baker cut like $3 million or $3 or $4 million off his $18 million, and that he can make back up in incentives. He goes into Carolina as the guy and going to be the starter for the season. But before we talk about Baker Mayfield and like what that means for the Panthers and like what that means for the NFC South, and if we see them as contenders now, blah blah. Let's just wind this shit back a little bit, bro. And I want to do this for people to understand how fucking hard it is to find a quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, man.
So since Carolina took Cam number 1 overall, he was their quarterback. He was their franchise quarterback for a very good period of time of his career. They moved on from him. Since they moved on from him, this team has tried to take so many dart throws at the quarterback day. Traded for Sam Darnold. And don't get me wrong, like they have done some dumb shit, right? Like, I don't fault them for trading for Sam Darnold. Like, I understood it in the time. But trading for Sam Darnold and then immediately picking up his 5th-year option, that's dumb shit. And we saw Sam Darnold at this point in the NFL. He is who he is. Like, he's a borderline NFL starting quarterback. Probably better suited for a backup quarterback role, which is wild with this pedigree he had coming out. In the draft, the 3rd round, they traded like a 5th-round pick to move up in the 3rd round to draft Matt Corral. And then now they traded for Baker Mayfield, who, his warts aside, he's shown glimpses. So they have invested and they traded like a 3rd and a 4th from Sam Darnold or something like that. It was like good draft compensation to get Sam Darnold. They used the 3rd on Matt Corral. They traded a 5th for Baker Mayfield. It's hard to find a quarterback, man. It's
hard, man.
So hard. Like, look no further than and I say this, and this is not me saying like I'm wishing Jameis to do poorly or whatever, but if he doesn't have a good season, like it just goes to show like how difficult it is to get the next guy. And
so hard.
Team, like, that's why like fans of the Colts and fans of the Packers, y'all can miss me forever. Just shut up. You go from one Hall of Fame quarterback to another Hall of Fame quarterback, and I get it. Maybe you don't win as many Super Bowls as you feel like you should, but if you go from Favre to Rodgers, you go from Manning to Luck, even though Luck wasn't for super long, you can't complain about shit. I'm sorry, you can't. As a football fan, I'm taking your card. You can't complain about it. We can even think about the Patriots, bro. And this is another little segment I want to talk about. Think about the Patriots. They went from Tom Brady to Mac Jones. Now, no one's saying Mac Jones is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he could be a top 15 quarterback for 10 years.
Right. They didn't go from like Tom Brady to just a carousel of losers. Nope. You know what I'm saying? Like,
nope. The guy is in place. But when you heard about the Baker Mayfield news and all that, what were your thoughts, and what are your thoughts about the Panthers overall now with Baker being their starting quarterback?
I mean, my first thought was like, oh, he's an upgrade. Like he makes them a competitive team. I still don't think they're like a really good team, but I think they're a competitive team now with Baker Mayfield. He's a good quarterback, man. Like, no, he's not a great quarterback. He has problems. You know, we talked about him. He has problems like off the field. You know, not so much as like criminal, but just like people just don't like him. But overall, like, you know, you just look at his numbers and production, you know, it's a good quarterback. Like, it's not even a competition between him and Sam Darnold. Like, he has, you know, like Baker Mayfield has almost like 100 touchdowns. Sam Darnold has like about 50-something, you know. He got about the same interceptions. It's night and day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like Baker Mayfield is a much better quarterback than Sam Darnold, which is just crazy, you know, considering, you know, when they came out of college, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, they're going to make it out of competition, and I understand that they should make it a competition, but I think it's Baker's job to lose, and I think he'll make the offense better. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to make it much more of a explosive offense. He's going to give them some good play. Like, because, look, he had a really good rookie year, really good. Like, one of the best rookie quarterback seasons you can have. And it was for the Browns. Like you got to add that caveat, just like with Drew Brees and the Saints. It's like it was with the Browns. They went from one of the worst franchises in 2 decades to, you know, a good and playoff team with him at the quarterback helm. And he kind of fell off and had like a injured year. You know, he kind of, you know, didn't work out with some of the, you know, with Odell Beckham and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, he's still a good serviceable quarterback that, you know, that can help you win games. So I don't think it's good for us for the Saints in the NFC South because it makes them more competitive. And we already split with Carolina last year, you know, and that was with Sam Darnold. So, you know, I don't think it's a good thing that he's coming to Carolina, but it makes them a little more formidable. So they're going to have to, you know, I watched the tweets and they're like, oh, he's a bum. It's like, come on now. Like, you know, like, no, I'm not a big Baker Mayfield fan, but he's an upgrade. Like, it's simple and easy to say.
Yes, he's an upgrade. What if you're a Panthers fan? And I mean, obviously it's the Saints podcast, so probably not many of those listening to us. But if you're a Panthers fan, I would say what would scare me tremendously is that for the last couple of years, you've had one of like the worst offensive lines like in football. And granted, you drafted an offensive lineman in the top 10 this draft. You think that guy is going to be the guy that's going to help your offensive line, but there's still like a lot of fucking holes. And if there's one thing Baker can't stand, like any quarterback, but like especially Baker because of like his height and his short. He's short. Like pressure will make him crumble so quickly, and so he's coming to a division that he has good talent on the defensive line for the teams that he's going to face. And so if that offensive line doesn't hold up, well, not the Falcons, but if that offensive line doesn't hold up, man, like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying it, and then he thrives off the running game being successful, thrives off of it. And, you know, very good with play action when the running game is going well. And if Christian McCaffrey has another Christian McCaffrey year where he get dinged up and he hurt another, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in the season,
I mean, is C-Mac healthy? I don't remember seeing anything from training camp. Like, is he back?
Allegedly? Like, allegedly? Will he ever?
Because if he's back, it's a problem. Like
yes,
he's a problem though.
Yes,
but he got to be back.
He got to be back, and then if he is back, like he got to be back, and he got to stay back. Like he, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't be back for like a game or two and be like, ah.
Right.
So that's just it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. There's still no news in regards to the whole Deshaun Watson suspension thing, and I'm just like, when is like they had the settlement hearings or what the fuck ever, or I don't even know where all that's at. I'm just like, why is like even if the suspension gets appealed, I don't understand why the NFL hasn't announced any type of suspension yet. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming. It's coming. But it's just it's like a black hole, man. You just don't know when. Apparently there's a lot of arbitration going on. It's coming though. I just feel it coming at some point. It's gonna be like on a Friday.
Oh,
like a
it might
Friday,
come tomorrow, bro.
Yeah, like it's gonna be. It literally might come tomorrow, man. It's gonna be interesting.
Really quick, back to the Baker thing. So when the Baker trade happened, I think it was Wednesday. I think it was yesterday. I don't know. All my days put together at this point. Our dude in our Discord Bayou Punisher was just like, "Oh, gotta post the Baker gift, Adam. Gotta post it." You know, dancing, bro. I'm doing it right now. You can't see it, but I'm doing it right now. And so I don't know whose idea it was. Oh, I think it may have been our dude Bane Beats. He said, or Mark, he said at the meetup for the Raiders game, we should have a competition.
Y'all gotta get me drunk to do this shit.
You ain't gotta get me drunk, man. It's better entertainment. Much better entertainment if I am drunk. And then I do it. But I'm down to do it. So if you're a Patreon and if you're coming to the VIP Patreon get together in October before the Raiders game, so either Friday or Saturday, more likely we're trending towards Saturday. So that's like the 29th of October, I believe, off the top of my head. If you're coming to that get together, saying it right now, there will be a Baker Mayfield dance off to see who can fucking
go to the Soul Train line.
Get the music going. But the music, it gotta be the fucked up clown music, bro. Gotta be the fucked up clown music. Trying to think if there's anything else like just happening. Like NFL
tumbleweeds.
Nothing, man.
Ain't nobody getting arrested. Nothing. Like, damn.
I will say though, I blocked this dude, Cody Benjamin, CBS. He put like, and I didn't even read it. I just saw someone talk about it on my timeline. He put out like a list ranking like the teams with the most talent in the NFL, and he had the Jets rated over the Saints. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me go ahead and block this fucking gentleman. Like, if you, and that's not even a homer stance, but if you truly believe that, I don't have anything in life to discuss with you.
Man, I was about to block Michael Lombardi today, man. Latest podcast.
Oh, I haven't listened to it.
And he was going to top 10 cornerbacks. And they're talking about it and he was talking about like the people that didn't make the list. And I'm like, okay, Marshawn didn't make the list, the people didn't make the list. Okay. So then the top 10 is supposed to be like the blue chip, the blue chip players. He's talking, no mention of Marshawn Lattimore. I'm like, what the? He's mentioning everybody. Freaking Humphreys and everybody. I'm like, where's Marshawn Lattimore? But then at the end, they started talking about Marshawn Lattimore. He had him right behind Ramsey too. I was like, okay. Okay. Because I was just about to block him, bro. Because Lombardi,
you had the Wesley Snipes gift, bro. Like he did.
And then anytime he analyzes the Saints, he talks about the secondary. He was like, they got secondary problems. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's the strength of the defense. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I know they do have it's like, what are you talking about, bro? But yeah, you talked about Marshawn Lattimore and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson because he included nickelbacks in his rankings.
Gotcha.
But that was just something that was on my mind. I was just like, man, look, like if you don't have Marshawn Lattimore as a top 10 corner, I just feel like you don't know football. Like
Period.
I just feel like you don't know football, bro. Like seriously, like you don't watch football, And so if you're gonna make a list of top 10 cornerbacks, first of all, you need to be watching football to make that list. Like I'm not gonna make a top 10 list of cornerbacks because I'm not about to sit down and watch the all 22 of 32 cornerbacks.
Not gonna do it, bro.
32. I'm not gonna do it. So I'm not gonna make that list. But I know for a fact Marshawn Lattimore has to be on that list. I know
top 5, top 3, and it's not even really close. Which
especially after last year because he had his little lumps and this and that, prior to that. But last year he came to work, baby. He was like, I'm working.
He did. He had some, I know people love the play he made against Devontae Adams as a rookie against Green Bay. But one of Marshawn's best plays as a pro is when he came back in the game after getting his thumb wrapped up. And it was in the Green Bay game. And he was matched up against Devontae Adams one-on-one. Like there was no safety help. It was just him. And he broke on that ball with that cast on and caused a PBU, bruh. And he got, bruh. Against arguably the best wide receiver in football. Getting a pass thrown from arguably the best quarterback or top 3 quarterback in football, bro. Like he showed his ass out. When we could talk about Terry McLaurin getting a 3-year contract extension, bro. Terry McLaurin had him on a milk carton that game, bro.
Lattimore came to shut him down.
Yeah,
I mean, if you are a really like a football nerd, go and watch that game. Watch Marshawn Lattimore. It was beautiful, just beautiful.
And I know Scary Terry don't have good quarterback play. I get that, but even like some of those passes on target, he nothing. Couldn't do it, bro. Couldn't do it. So speaking of Saints top 5, let's get into this 53-man roster prediction. So I actually did this earlier, right before I had to leave somewhere for work. And I really thought about it. I was going through the roster. I had them all listed out in terms of who I really thought was going to make the team and not make the team. So we can say that there wasn't a whole lot of difference in our list. Like we were pretty lockstep, and we didn't converse with each other before we did the list or anything. We just did it. So I'll start with We're going to start with quarterbacks. I think the biggest, I wouldn't even say a surprise, but it was very interesting to me that we both left Ian Book off the 53-man roster for that number 3 quarterback spot.
Yeah, I think he's going to practice squad.
I think he is, man. Because I think, and this is kind of like giving a little spoiler for my 53, but the way I think it breaks down to is if you have someone like Ian Book, who's going to be a number 3 quarterback, and you have someone who, maybe is like a luxury player. And a perfect example when I was doing this roster was like Bradley Roby to me. Like, there's a situation where if Alontae Taylor looks amazing, Bradley Roby may look like he's just great depth. And like, do we really need him? Like, maybe we could trade for him. But if you're a coaching staff, especially like I see it from like Dennis Allen's mind frame, like, oh, I can have this number 3 quarterback, or I can keep Bradley Roby on the team. And if there's an injury, like he can play snaps, and maybe, you know, the secondary could still be like a strength and not be a big dramatic fall off. Like, to me, that's why a player like Bradley Roby would make it the team over someone like Ian Book.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And, you know, when you look at the quarterback position, let's say Jameis gets injured, you got Andy Dalton. You know what I'm saying? And I know they've pretty much moved on from Taysom as a quarterback, but, you know, he's better than Ian Book. Like, that's not debatable.
Yes.
I think many day of the week. So I think they quickly move him back to quarterback if it came down to it. If, you know, if Armour didn't happen and Jameis got hurt, then Andy Dalton got hurt, which could happen. You know,
happened last year, bro.
It happened last. I mean, Dallas Cowboys. I think, you know, Dak got hurt, and I think Andy Dalton got hurt for a little bit.
Yep.
So it can happen. So I would rather see that, because you just can't throw Ian Book back out there, bro. You just
can't do it, man.
And, you know, maybe he could fool me. Like, maybe he comes into camp. The problem is, and this is, you know, a problem we can't control, even NFL coaches can't control. You just get very limited snaps in training camp, man. You just don't get – you're not able to develop these quarterbacks. Sean Payton used to complain about it a lot. Like, you get – like, at this point now, you get 8 padded practices in training camp. 8.
That's
you
wild.
You can't develop a quarterback. Like, you just can't. You can't develop. It's hard to develop not just quarterback, but just his team in general. So, you know, like, I feel bad for guys like Ian Book, because I mean, they just riding the pine, bro. Like, they got to take mental reps. They got to make the best of what they can do. Come in, you know, for, you know, do some practice squad things, scout team, and all that. They just got to make the best of it, bro, because you're not getting developed. You're not going to be sitting there throwing to anybody good. You're going to be sitting there throwing to the bottom of the roster and, you know, out there after practice trying to make it work. You know, so that's just where it's at.
Yeah, man, it sucks for like a player like Ian Book. And who knows, man? Like, it's like you said, like, maybe in some alternate universe, Ian Book may be #good, but I don't know if he's not going to get it off. Do you remember, like, the scuttlebutt about Ian Book during, like, training camp last year? And, like,
yeah,
there were, like, whispers that, like, teams wanted to trade for Ian Book.
Yeah.
Like, who?
I mean, Baker Mayfield just basically had to beg. Like, it's like, who?
So let's go to running back. And I'm going to preface this by saying this. I think this is the position group that has the potential most, that even though we're talking about it right now, and these are the players we have on it. And I think even middle of training camp, whoever's on it at that point, I think it just has the potential to have the most change in it between now and the regular season. But
agreed.
The ones we both went with was AK, Mark Ingram, Abram Smith, and Dwayne Washington, mostly for special team purposes. We both left your favorite Tony Jones Jr. off the roster.
Don't want it.
left him off. But yeah, I just think, and we've talked about it on prior episodes, there's no free agent running backs right now that's worth a damn, or else they probably would have signed one. So if there's a running back that gets cut, like a vet running back that gets cut, or it doesn't have to be like a vet, like an older running back. Like, if there's a team that maybe they invested a third or fourth round pick and a running back in the draft a year or 2, 3 years ago, and it just had to work out for them. And like the Saints had a good grade on them as a prospect. Like I could easily see them like claiming a running back like that and trying to see if they can make it work with someone like that.
Easy.
But I'm just looking at that running back depth chart, bro. One of the things I hope to see the most, and it's kind of hard to tell with training camp, but I just want to every day I just want to read something that Auburn Smith is doing something good, bro. Every day.
Yeah. Oh, agree.
Auburn Smith just broke off another 20-yard gain. Like, please.
Like if he could be, 80% Chris Ivory, it's like, okay, we got something. I don't think there's asking a lot, right?
I don't think so.
Chris Ivory showed his ass that preseason, boy.
Showed his ass, bro.
He's like, who is that? Who is this guy?
He was running. Oh my goodness! I remember some of those runs in the preseason, bro. You was just like, God damn. We both interesting put Adam Prentice at fullback on the team, and this is one where I wasn't sure about because the fullback has always been a Sean Payton thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we might not even carry a fullback. I don't know.
Might not carry a single one. And now that Pete Carmichael's calling plays, he may not have this love affair for fullbacks that Sean Payton did, or maybe he feels that he can maybe, granted, let's say Taysom Hill is healthy, have like Taysom Hill be like in a H-back type of role, whatever. So Adam Prentice may not even make the team. I added him for the time being. He's easily someone that might not be on the actual 53-man roster. But I did want to talk about, last couple of weeks, bro, there's been like this Pete Carmichael just love affair. That's just
really.
I mean, just like, he's this mad genius. He's the one with all the plays, and there's been like articles read about him. And I'm like, listen, I wanted to work with Pete, bro. I want Pete Carmichael to show his ass out, and maybe Pete Carmichael can have the season where it's like, dang, that's what's been in the wings. Like, this is what we've been missing all this time.
So you feel like somebody putting that out there, like, just trying to like PR him up, like just PR him up, like
yes, man. I don't know where, like, probably
it was Pete coming up with them wrinkles. You heard me? Pete had them wrinkles.
It's like, okay, cool. So if that's the case, like, I still can't look away from the fact that this man wanted to have a little siesta this season and just take a nap, bro. Like, just think about
Pete wanted that Bruce Arians job, man.
Bro,
like,
I'm telling you.
Like, give me a little consultant, man. Like, oh.
And think about this. It doesn't even have to be something as like stressful or as exhaustive of being an offensive coordinator for a football team is. But anyone who did not want to do something, if you're myself, you, anyone, listen to this podcast, if you adamantly did not want to do something, had the intentions not to do something, and you get talked into doing it, do you really put your 400%?
I don't know. I don't know. It could go different ways.
It could, man. And I know I feel like I'm being really hard on Pete.
It can go different ways. It can go different ways. Like, he could be thrust in a position where, especially if he has success early, it can reinvigorate him, man. Like, it can invigorate him. Like, okay, I can do this. I know I've been in that position before. Just nothing to do with football, but just personally, professionally, I was like, okay, I got this. I know what I'm doing, and it kind of reinvigorates you. Or he could be a massive disaster early. He's like, I don't know why I did this.
Like, what have I got myself into?
Like, get me out of here, man. Like, like, fucking, who's the quarterback coach? Like, yeah, bro.
Cody Burns.
Probably holler at Doug Marrone. Doug Marrone, hey Doug, you got this. It's a black. We really don't know how it's gonna play out, bro. I think people underrate that. Like, we don't know how that's gonna work out, man. You just assume that Pete gonna come in and just be cooking. You can't assume that, man. Like, don't assume that shit.
And it's a good problem to have, right? But he has the unique thing of trying to work in so many different pieces, especially at wide receiver in this offense. So he has to integrate like an 80% Michael Thomas, a new player in Jarvis Landry, a rookie Chris Olave that has a shit ton of potential. Like, there's just a lot of fucking ingredients that he got to figure out, bro. Like, it is, and we'll see how it's gonna go. So wide receiver, do we have to? Hold on, I have to check yours. So I think that's where we differ. So wide receivers that I had. So I had the 6 making the team: Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, Deontay Hardy, Marquez Callaway, and then this was kind of like a wild card put on the roster of making the 53-man, and I think the most reason I went with this player was because of kind of like the consistently good noise he made or he was making in OTAs. But I put Kurt Merritt. Had him making the 53. You went Traquan, bruh. Traquan could easily make the team, bruh. And I know he has a 2-year deal. I don't know, guys. I don't know if Trey. I don't know if Trey Con go make it, bro. We both. It's interesting that we both feel confident that Callaway makes the team. I don't think his roster spot is in doubt. No, both, and I think the Saints, the whole thing with Deontay Hardy or Deontay Harris, right? He wants to get paid. Period. Wants to get paid, and he wants to get paid a number that the Saints are just not going to pay him. They're not going to pay him what he wants. Okay, I feel like I'm not breaking any news with this. I'm not going to throw numbers out there, but they're not going to pay him the number he wants to get paid. But there isn't any impetus that this has to be quote unquote bad this season, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm the Saints, you tell Deontay, say, listen, man, I know you want to get your guap, understand it, but can't pay you this season. Go out, have a great season, put up good numbers. Maybe you just increase your worth for next season, right? For whatever team you might sign with next.
You gonna get paid, you know.
You'll get paid. We ain't gonna do it, but you're gonna get paid. Because I think the Saints have to look at it from the standpoint of like team building, putting weapons on the field. And if you roll out a wide receiver set that maybe has Michael Thomas or Jarvis Landry. So let's say it's Michael Thomas on the outside, Jarvis Landry in the slot position, and then you have Chris Olave and Deontay Hardy on the same side of the field. Or let's say they're on the opposite sides of the field from each other, like one's on the left and one's on the right. I'm telling listeners, as a defensive coordinator, you are petrified with how you could get beat over the top, bro.
Yeah.
Because you got Chris Olave who ran almost a 4.2. You know Deontay Hardy has probably low 4.3, maybe even low, maybe close to a 4.2, 40 speed. Like, you sweating, bro. You sweating as a defensive coordinator. And if I'm the Saints, at least for one season, I want to stress defenses out as much as I can. Exactly. So I'm like, we're going to have fun this season. You might not be here next season, but while you're here, we're going to fucking put the fear of God in the defenses.
And here's one thing, like, say what you want about James. One thing he could hit Deontay Hardy in stride, bro.
stride, bro.
In stride, like you walking into the end zone. So that's just that alone is worth something. I don't know what it's worth, but it's worth something. So, as the Saints, you need to try to keep that together, at least this year. As far as down the future, I mean, the dude just been injured a lot, man. Like, I love him. He reinvigorated the special teams return position. Like, completely made it a weapon. He built himself into a good wide receiver. He was like money last year. So I love him. I want to pay him. I want him to be a part of the Saints, but it's just like, with a lot of these guys, man, it's like, what's that number? Because he's obviously going to put more value on himself than the team does. And,
as he should.
As he should. Like, he needs to go and get the most money he could, man. So I have no gripes about it, but, the Saints got a lot. Like, they're in the point where they have to figure out who they want to be. They're paying Landry, even though he's on a short deal. You got Michael Thomas. A lot of this depends on Michael Thomas, man. Like, because I wonder, what if Michael Thomas ain't right? What if he just can't get right, bro? He can't make the cuts. It's like, do you go back to Hardy and be like, man, look, let's work something out. Make sure because we just need wide receivers. You know what I'm saying?
It gets tricky, man, because you got McCoy, you got CeeDee.
Yeah.
What you gonna do with Marcus Davenport? What? It gets tricky. It does. It just gets tricky. So I guess we, per our list, a good training camp battle that we're gonna pay attention to is Trey Con versus Kurt Murray, bro. We're gonna be down into that one. Tight end, we both had all four same tight ends: Taysom Hill, Adam Troutman, Juwan Johnson. I'm gonna have to block Juwan Johnson Instagram account, bro. I can't take his content he does with his wife, fiance, girlfriend. Can't do it. A surprise that we both went with at tight end is Nick Vannett did not make our 53-man roster. We both went with Lucas Kroll, undrafted free agent. There was some buzz building for him in rookie mini camp, and it continued over in the OTAs, bro. And like when you just and this is what teams do in terms of roster building and their 53, right? They just stack players. You got Nick Vannett, he got drafted. We know what he is. But we got this Lucas Kroll kid. Like, he hasn't been playing football this long, and he looks this good, and he's this big. And
if Kroll is just even with Vannett, it's like
it's easy. It's an easy
decision.
And if he's like head and shoulders above him, like,
come on,
bye, Nick Vannett. I do wonder because Juwan Johnson started off last season very hot. Had very good rapport with Jameis. Mm-hmm. And then it just faded, bro. Like, that shit just dissipated. And then Nick Vannett had some okay moments. Like, the tight end position in general left a lot to be desired. I don't know if they would, call up an Eric Ebron that Cam Jordan was trying to recruit on Twitter. I don't know if they would fucking bite the bullet and be like, hey, Jared Cook.
It seems like it.
It doesn't. I think to use the Sean Payton, I think they do like the guys in the room. I also think that with Adam Troutman, they're dealing with somewhat of a sunken fallacy cost.
Yeah.
In that they feel like they invested a lot to draft him, and they're just banking on he had a down season in his second year, but year 3 he's gonna be great. And I'm like, okay, like until I see it, bro. Like he made some plays last season that just was infuriating, bro. Like had the one touchdown that Kenny Stills got last season against the Giants, I believe it was negated from a fucking Alan Troutman holding them.
Oh, man. I remember that now.
He got to bounce back, bro. He got to bounce back all I think his roster spot is safe, but he has to bounce back without question.
It ain't safe. And
no, I don't think it's safe.
Yeah, and Juwan Johnson, I think he's penciled in, but it's not permanent ink. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
he has to have a good camp and good preseason.
Yes, agreed. Let's round out the offense. So tackles, guards, centers, we all had the same. So tackles, we have Ryan Ramczyk, James Hurst, Trevor Penning, Landon Young, and I guess Landon Young can also kind of be viewed as a guard as well. The guard spot, Andres Pete, Cesar Ruiz, Calvin Throckmorton, Forrest Lamp, and then center Eric McCoy. The reason I kept Young, Throckmorton, and Lamp on the team is one, offensive linemen always get hurt. Period.
Yeah.
Andres Pete typically always gets hurt. Just the way that life works with Andres Pete. But if Cesar Ruiz continues to have terrible snaps and just awful plays, like this is maybe the big difference we'll see in Dennis Allen is that at some point he's just like, man, you gotta go sit down on the bench, bro. Like Throckmorton, Lamp, Young, I don't care who it is. Just go out and right guard and please move when the ball is snapped.
Right.
And I don't want to feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but you have to have some Cesar Ruiz insurance, bro. You have to.
Please.
You have to. And they have shown that they're I shouldn't say this, but I don't think there's going to be an actual competition in training camp for right guard, bro.
Yeah, I don't either, man.
I don't think it is. They're going to. It's just like that whole draft class. Adam Troutman, Cesar Ruiz, bro. They're like, oh, they had a bad second season, but year 3 they're going to be great.
We'll see.
What? We'll see, man. I think with the depth, you have to keep them on the roster for 51 insurance. You got to keep them on the roster for 75 insurance because Andres Pete always gets some type of injury that knocks him out 5-6 weeks of the season, bro. So Throckmorton, Lamp, or Young gonna start some games this season. It's written.
And I guess my only guy that maybe could replace somebody, whether it's Lamp or somebody, is Greenleaf. I don't know his real name, but
Ethan Greenidge, I believe.
Greenidge, yeah. He might slip up in there, man.
Okay. I mean, I remember his snaps at tackle were awful, but I don't know.
Terrible. That's why I call him Greenleaf.
Just awful. But maybe at guard it may be better. So let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. I think all our defensive ends are exactly the same. So we both had Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport, Peyton Turner, Tanio Pascal. I'll get the name right someday. And Carl Granderson. No surprises. Big Creek makes the team. No surprises there. Tackle, I had David Onyemata, Contavious Street, Shad Tuttle, Malcolm Roach, and then the draft pick, Jordan Jackson. You had the exact same. So the two positions that I think we see the most turnover between now and start of the regular season is running back and defensive tackle. Like David Onyemata, probably needs to play better. I know he was coming off the suspension last year, but he needs to play better. I know they signed Contavious Street as an undrafted free agent. Shad Tuttle, Malcolm Roach have all had like some decent flashes here and there. I don't think Jordan Jackson, they just drafted him, so he would have to do real bad in training camp for him not to make the team. But I didn't put Jaleel Johnson on this list. Undrafted free agent they signed this offseason as well. So there's 5 defensive tackles, but I don't know, man. If someone Shakes Free, that's a good name. Like, if I was the Saints, I'd be calling up Ndamukong Suh right now, saying what's up, or I'd be calling up JPP for defensive tackle, or for defensive end, and saying what's up. And we didn't talk about this, but after we put out our last episode, like a day after, like Peyton Turner puts like a decree out on Twitter that he was like fully healthy, and I was like, damn, did we force this man into making a decree? Hear ye.
He say he's cleared, man. He's cleared, ready to go.
So that's good news. Like we need it. It is needed for him to be healthy and to produce. What are your thoughts at the tackle position?
I mean, I think that's one of the bigger holes of the defense. And, I think they can get by with what they have. It's not going to be a strength at all. But I think they have enough girth there to get by. But I would absolutely look, behind the team to see if there's ways to upgrade, whether that's Suh. There's not much out there, man. It's
nothing.
It's not great. You just gotta hope the guys you got, they're young. That's the good thing. A lot of these guys are young, so you hope they can give you something moving forward.
And I think some of it too is like they're banking on maybe Ryan Nielsen can get something out of like a Contavious Street, like
right, exactly.
Make him not saying that he's going to take a Demario Davis like Jets to Saints like jump, but like maybe the free agency scout or the professional scouting department saw enough traits that they feel like they maybe can get something more out of a player like Contavious Street, where he can be a better player for the Saints maybe than he was for the 49ers.
Exactly.
Moving on to defense, or excuse me, not to defense, to linebacker. All have the same there. Demario Davis, Pete Warner, Caden Ellis, DeMarco Jackson, the rookie that they drafted this year, and Zach Bond. Zach Bond makes both of our lists. I had him highlighted or bolded in my list, and I've said it earlier, man. Like, I think they just have this love affair with that 2020 draft class that they just not going to relinquish the season, bro. I don't think it's
why.
I don't know.
It's like, who's making the decisions with Zach Bond? That's what I want to know. It's like, okay, he's a decent special teamer. Like, that's what you want to keep on the team?
Yep. He is.
Like, oh, man. It's like, come on, man. Like, make a decision on what you want to do with this guy, He's never going to be what you thought he was going to be, like a Mike. He's not that. Not a Mike Baker, man. Like, you got to find a way. Either find a way to accentuate the talent he does have, or just move on. Whether that's trading for a late round pick, conditional late round pick, or just cutting them outright. You just got to move on.
I agree. I agree with they should. Or if I'm Dennis Allen, and I again, I want to guess. I want to know who's making like the calls in terms of Zach Bond as a player. Like, if he obviously linebacker wasn't his spot, but maybe this offseason you say you're gonna be an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Every snap you rushing the passer. Every snap you rushing the passer. Just like you did at Wisconsin. You can even do it in a 2-point stance. Just go get them and see how that looks in training camp. See how it looks in preseason. And if he makes progress, like if you see something out of him in that role that justifies him being on the team, because we don't know what we're getting from Peyton Turner. We don't know what we're going to get from Marcus Davenport, with health. Like, then his spot is justified. But if you just expecting this man to be like Demario Davis or Pete Warner or whatever, and bro, like that's not it. It's not.
Not at all, man. Like it's just such a simple thing to evaluate for me. I don't see why they're not seeing it.
It's this blinding light, bro. Like I don't know when it's gonna be like, oh shit, maybe we should cut ties with all these fuckers from 2020 that we drafted. Like we just gotta admit, like we fucked up. We fucked up. Like we got it wrong. It does. It's hard. But I just don't see it being this year. The strength of the team. So now we get into secondary. And I thought I would have like a harder time. But like this was like the easiest part, bro. I was like, Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, Alante Taylor, C.D. Deuce, Bradley Roby, PJ Williams. Those are your cornerbacks. 6 cornerbacks. I think they'll carry 6. The only, like I said it earlier, the only way I could just see them maybe seeing Bradley Roby as a luxury, and I say luxury not in terms of that they don't need him, but maybe like, hey, we can trade him for a 4th or 5th round pick, and not have they get cap relief, or maybe like they're looking at it financially. Like Alante Taylor just has an outwardly training camp, and I could see him having a really good training camp, bro. Like
easily.
I can see it. But we both have all 6 cornerbacks are in lockstep of who made the roster. You have safety, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, JT Gray. I have the same at the safety position. Special teamers, Blake Gilligan, Will Lux, Zach Wood, a long snapper. So was the only 2 differences for us was wide receiver, and what else was? What was the other one? Was that the only difference?
Was that the only one? Was it linebacker?
Nope. No. It wasn't linebacker. No, that was it. It was.
I will say safety feels a little thin, especially
It does.
Marcus May expecting to miss some time beginning with a suspension. But then you got PJ, he can play safety. That's probably going to be his main spot, so you can kind of pencil him in as a safety. But it does still feel like a little
It does.
thin there.
It does. It does feel very thin.
But that's kind of like normal, right?
Yeah, I purposely left off Daniel Sorensen because I don't want to wish that on them. I just don't want to do it.
Justin Evans' kid.
Yeah, I wanted to add him on. I think he needs to have like a good to great training camp.
Yeah.
To justify his roster spot. I think he does have the potential, and I know everyone loves like Smoke Monday from Auburn as an undrafted free agent. Just a hitter. And maybe they can find a role for him. But again, like the Justin Evans and the Smoke Mondays of the world, like they have to have like outworldly training camps.
Yeah.
Doing this exercise, I don't know where you want to say in terms of where it is like in the NFL, but like especially defensively, bro, like this roster is low key stacked. Like
that's what I thought. Like looking at this, I was like, man,
like
good ass roster, bro.
Like there's some problem areas, like the depth behind AK is problematic with him likely to miss.
It's not perfect.
It's not. Well, him likely to miss 6 to 8 games. That's a concern. Wide receiver, if Michael Thomas is 70 to 80%, that's a strength. If he's not, I don't think it's like just suffocating because our great supporter Brian has said Jarvis Landry can do a lot of the things that Michael Thomas they're not the same player, but he could do similar things where it's not as bad as it was last season. Tight end to me that's a huge question mark. That's just a position that's just lacking a lot. Now, if Taysom comes, whenever Taysom comes back, we saw in like 2019. 2019 or whatever season it was. Like, for someone who didn't like focus a lot at being a tight end or whatever, man, he was just out there just being an athlete on the field, bro. Like, just what I need to do? Oh, okay, I'll do it, and he just did it. But now that he's strictly going to be a tight end, he's going to be in the tight end room. He's going to be learning how to run routes and things like that. And I mean, I think, especially because he's coming off a second Liz Frank injury, like he needs to like understand offensively how to beat defenders, because maybe like his athleticism, which is outworldly, just naturally it's going to take a hit. It just has to, right?
Oh yeah, he's in his 30s
with that type of injury. But like defensive end, we talked about it. That position can be the difference between the defense being great to being elite, and it hinges on Marcus Davenport. It hinges on Peyton Turner. If Pascal comes back, man, if he plays like he did at the beginning of last season, I was like, God damn, these niggas struck gold with this little sneaky free agent signing, bro. If he comes back and then you get the same Marcus Davenport that played, this is like the edge position could be a huge, like great area for the team, bro, but it could go real bad, real fucking south.
Easily.
But linebacker, cornerback, secondary, you stacked. Defensive tackle, we talked about it. Like, it just kind of seems like a whole bunch of guys except for David Onyemata. But you hope someone kind of steps up and makes an impact. Like, the roster is good. This roster is good enough to compete in the NFC, can make noise in the NFC, make the playoffs in the NFC. And honestly, bro, like, I'm not saying this is, I'm not, like, if you just look at it, and a lot of it all just depends on health and Jameis, right, and how he plays. That's a huge question mark. But like, would it shock me if this team like ended up in the NFC South or NFC Championship game? Like, I wouldn't be super shocked. Like, I think if you like kind of like lay everything out, like, you know, Dennis Allen being the head coach again for like the second time, James Winston being a quarterback, Pete Carmichael being a full-time OC, like, you're like, oh damn, like this team made the NFC Championship game. But the talent's evident. But the roster's also banking on like players returning back to form. Like Ryan Ramczyk got to come back and he got to be Ryan Ramczyk.
Right.
Michael Thomas got to be, would take like 65%, being honest, bro. Like, you got to be 70 or 80. Give me 65. But it was a fun thought exercise to do, kind of like right in the middle of just deadness. But like, man, a couple of weeks, man, football's back. Like, training camp gonna be up and popping. We're gonna have to be doing more episodes of doing these training camp recaps and all that. I'll be honest with the listeners. So right in the heat of training camp, like, I'm going to be in Hawaii from the 27th through the 31st. You know, we'll try to get an episode recorded at some point.
You good.
The time while I'm going, but like I said, like, there's a 7-hour time difference in Hawaii and Alabama. So it is what it is, man.
No, you good, man. Like, action won't kick off till kind of beginning of August. Right. Start doing some padded practices, see what's really going on, who's injured, who's on PUP, stuff like that. Like, that's going to be interesting. Jameis, you know, he's been posting videos. He's coming out his knee brace. So I think, you know, everything's turned to right for Jameis. Everything's turned to right. So we'll see.
Any other like thoughts you had from doing this?
No, man, it was just like you said. It struck me like, damn, still a good roster, bro. Like, it's unfortunate they haven't been able to, you know, go to the big show, but it's easily one of the top 5 or 6 rosters in the NFL, bro.
I really believe that, man. Like, I really believe it.
They take some knocks at quarterback. They don't have an elite quarterback. But, I think they got the best quarterback they could get.
Yes.
That's not, like a legitimate franchise quarterback. Like that tier behind franchise quarterback, they got probably the best quarterback you can get.
I agree. I agree. But fun exercise. We'll see how everything plays out. We should do a comparison episode when the 53-man roster is finalized.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Things gonna change, man.
Yes,
things will change.
It can even be something just injury related, bro.
Absolutely.
Have no clue. We don't know what's going to happen in training camp. There's still, it's crazy. Like if you just go through, there's still players out there like Odell Beckham's out there, JPP, and Ndamukong Suh. There's still players out there that's wild. But anyway, wrapping up, fun thought exercise. Give us your thoughts in terms of what your thoughts are as listeners for maybe a player that you feel that we put on our 53 that you disagree with, or a player that we left off that you feel is going to make the roster, anything like that. Hit us up on Twitter at Saints Tweet TWIT Pod. You can hit us up on Instagram at Saints Twitter Pod. If you have not became a Patreon member yet, please do so if you have the capability. With training camp wrapping up, I expect to see a bigger uptick in our Discord. And again, just being a Patreon member makes you eligible for so many of the raffles and things that we're going to do upcoming. So we're looking forward to it. And plus, if you want to see all of us, including Ryan, who just got getting drunk enough, doing the Baker Mayfield fucking sideline dance, and meet up with us in New Orleans. The only way that happens if you're Patreon. If you're Patreon currently, thank you. The only thing that we ask of you is please double check your payment method for maybe when you signed up with Patreon, to just make sure that the card or whatever you're using is still active and valid and isn't expired. But other than that, I do think that we'll get to our goal of having 200 Patreons before the start of the regular season. We're about 70-ish away right now. But as training camp and all that and preseason all starts kicking off, I have a feeling that those numbers are going to go up, hopefully. So with that, we appreciate y'all as always. We'll be back next week. With that, we're out.
Peace.
Got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge, just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.